good, intense practice. Again, like the intensity, like the attitude, guys working, guys coaching, leading each other. See a lot of that, a lot of encouragement, and not just on defense to offense, offense to defense. I love to come right, but competition, I really am happy with. Guys getting that. We're far from perfect. We're a long way from off. We got a lot of things to work on, but attitude stays that way. I like the direction we're going. I mean, very intense, and guys trying to be very detailed on still mistakes, but their attitude and their mindset's in a really good place. So from that standpoint, we're good. So got to keep maintaining that. This is day 3. You got 26 more. So we got to questions.
What do shells allow you to do that? Just shorts and shorts.
We bang, we play, do your drills. You can hit, you can form tackle, just don't go to the ground. You know what I'm saying? We get some upper body contact just like we always do. I mean, not too much of it, but a lot of it. It's a very physical, tough practice. You just ain't cutting each other, tackling each other. But other than that, you practice like you would normally do.
You lose leaders off last year's team like that in the markets. You talk about guys really stepping and helping each other. Which guys are really leading that charge?
A lot of them. Guys, I'm telling you that. You go across the board. I mean, Derek Notting, Christmas up top, Brian Burns, your Sweat, of course, 3. Derwin's everywhere. Trey, Herb McFadden jumping out there doing things. I mean, I hope I'm not missing anybody. Offense, 12 does a good job. You're Everly in there doing it. The receiver Tate and even Nooney. You hear him in there. I hear Jacquez Patrick. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are energetic and encouraging guys and coaching guys and doing good things. I mean, a lot of them really are.
Jimbo, last year we talked with guys like Roderick and Matthew, and it said it took them time to kind of get acclimated into their new roles. What do you project for guys like them this year, knowing that they kind of have that experience?
Well, I hope so. They can see things faster, process faster, play faster, and play with more of their ability. I think you saw that in the second half of Matthew as he started getting quick. He made a couple of flash plays out there today, boy, just jumped out at me. And some real tough screen plays and different things, just triggering. And what it allows you to do when it allows you to have eye discipline. Then if you know what you're looking at, the right things, then you react and you see that athleticism really take off. And I mean, that's what you're seeing.
And same with someone like Roderick. I mean, how would you describe to someone what it's like for any person to be in charge of being responsible for the offense or defense, and the time it takes to kind of get used to it and comfortable, and what they see here too?
What you dream of. You want to be in charge. You want to be the guy making the call. That's what you did when you was a little kid playing in the yard. I mean, that means you have a lot of trust in you. You got a lot of faith in you. You're an intelligent guy. I mean, that's what you dream of doing.
Jim, I heard you say last month during the ACC kickoff about how good Trubisky, Watson, and Lamar Jackson were. We didn't know at the time those guys were going to be Heisman runner-up, number 2 pick. Going through those 3 guys, playing against those guys, what does that do for you guys moving forward this year?
It makes you realize how disciplined you have to be, how intense, how every assignment, alignment. I mean, every little thing can get. They can take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? It makes you a better player because you can play against better people. When you're not doing it just perfect. Sometimes you've been 95% and your athleticism makes up for the other 5%. You can't do that, and it makes you train your mind to have to be in that mindset, which is really good.
Do you think the team kind of takes like a little chip on their shoulder because they know they were so close against those guys last year?
No, I think that team's over with. That team's gone. This is a new team. That team ain't the same team. Ain't the same guys. I mean, you learn from your lessons. Every whether you win or lose, every opportunity is a learning experience, and you take from those and hopefully grow and don't make the same mistakes.
All these guys have played football probably their whole lives, but do you watch the freshmen on first day in shells to see how they contact just kind
and they get big-eyed, starry-eyed, or some of them jump right in the middle of it now, and some of them guys did now. It was interesting. They ain't backing up, which is what you want. But I think there's 2 reasons for that. I think the way our upperclassmen have taken them under their wing in the summer too. I mean, and making those guys feel comfortable and teaching them what to do. Because usually it's hard for those guys to do because they have no clue what to do. Our upperclassmen have done a really good job with our young guys of, acclimating them and how we practice, the tempo we practice, what the mindset is, how to do things, and assignments and alignments to at least allow their athletes to start to see their athleticism. And they make mistakes, but I mean, pretty good for the first day for those guys.
Do you feel like this is one of your more mature groups of upperclassmen?
We'll find out in time. It's only been 3 days. But, I mean, I've liked what I've seen so far. I mean, I really have. I mean, I think a lot of them, I see a great attitude. I really do. I see a great attitude.
Is this the most experienced group of linebackers you have? I mean, you have 2 seniors starting, and then you also have Jacob Pugh.
Jacob Pugh's a senior starting. Yeah, so in that regard, I mean, but we had Telvin, you had Christian Jones, in that group. But yeah, I mean, this is as experienced as any we've had. I mean, played a lot of ball and been in a lot of big time situations.
What is having that 3rd linebacker on the field instead of that extra DB? What does that do for you?
Well, it depends on who he is. I mean, whether it's a linebacker, depends on his abilities. I'm saying? Can he play in space? Can he reroute? Can he cover if he has to? Can he tackle in space? And that guy right there definitely can. I mean, I've been extremely happy with Jacob and his whole demeanor. You see him just doing like being a complete player. Really good.
Those young guys like Dontavius and Emmett Rice and whatnot, what have you seen from them?
Saw flashes, and I saw some great things running down the court, field, special teams, triggering, and when they were in there on the run, I saw 5 trigger in there a couple times to make a couple nice plays. Saw Emmett flashes, man, they will hit you and run around. And Leonard Warner, see him jumping out in there. Adonis Thomas had some really nice plays. He flashed out, just caught glimpses of good plays, and you notice, you respect it, man. I loved it. It was good. You see those guys. I like that group is doing a pretty good job right now. Seems to be. And again, I'll watch the film and evaluate, but just from practice, you start watching those guys on the other side. Why is that not being made? Well, that guy made that play. It's not just he makes the play, it's how he makes it within the scheme of doing the right things.
For the younger linebackers, the sophomores, just how important was it for them to get the experience that they were able to get last year?
Anytime you get on that field, like I say, it just grows. And no matter how much it is, whether it's special teams, backup roles, at least you know you've walked out. Now there's more responsibility, more expectations of them, but at the same time, I think it's a good confidence builder.
What does it do to have that depth of that position to do things for Matthew, for Derek to push him? Does that help?
Again, allows you special teams guys, and when they're on special teams, you can rotate series if you have to, or put guys in. You feel very comfortable they can do their job, and you're not going to drop off.
Jimbo, 6 games last year, you trailed by double digits. You think this group is more mature and more of a sense of urgency?
I don't know if it's a sense of urgency. Sometimes it's the other guys. I don't know if it's definitely a sense of urgency. Guys make plays. We'll see. We'll find out. I don't know. We ain't played yet.
So when can you start kind of getting the idea of the identity of a team? Is it this early, or is it because it got to go a little bit?
We will see. And by the end of the year, when the season's over, you'll start. I joke about that, but you do. Good teams, the ones that real good teams I've been on, just keep growing as it goes. You just see more and more and more. But the key ingredient to that is one thing. It's one word: attitude. If that's good, you usually can find those things. Because when you have the right attitude, you're allowed to be coached and pushed and challenged and all those good things.
That kind of happened last year, right?
We did, but early we had to learn from it. Hopefully we don't have to go through those learning pains to get there. And I think, our practices seem that way, that we learned.
It seems like you have impact players on each level of the defense. What does that do for you?
Very critical, because guys that can, sometimes like I say, people forget those other teams are on scholarship too. They get good players, they do things, and it takes, sometimes in big games, guys that have that game-changing ability. When you got it on 3 levels, you don't know which guy can make it. And get the more multiples of guys out there that do the right things and have those kind of abilities. When there is mistakes or is a breakdown, the other team just does it right. It makes a block, or you know what I mean. Some of those guys can get off and save you from a big play or make a big play.
And that kind of establish a new height.
Well, it does, man. And how people double team guys, how they have to play, have to respect different people on the field and the other team and the opponent when they're game playing.
You guys experimented with those helmets in the spring. Did you feel like?
Well, we felt very good about. We think it helps the lineman because the concept up there is so close. I don't think the skill guys it's as big a deal because most of those collisions that do happen are from distances. I don't think that they help the skill guys as much, but I do think the concept when you're up there tight on the offensive line and doing things, we felt like in our studies it helps. So we leave them on the line and up front guys.
Jimbo, you mentioned earlier that some of the freshmen were jumping right in. Who were some of those guys?
Nobody. All of them. All those guys have really done a good job. Too early to tell.
Is the way you guys immerse them in the information the first couple days, how they handle that?
That's what I've been very impressed with. And still playing fast. You know what I'm saying? And not, like I say, driving through the neighborhood, we don't know where to go. But I think they've done a good job of studying on their own, film, the upperclassmen have worked with them. And, played for the most part, all the freshmen have played pretty quickly, which, you don't see the guy. They'll make mistakes. But I tell you what, even when they do them, they're going full speed, which is a great characteristic.
Where do you see the most continuity between the classes? Is it from doing posting and recruiting visits and the time they spend together on campus before they're on?
Everything. And then now, the off-season, when they're here, and understand that guy's on your team, and he's your brother, you got to help him. He's family. You got to help him. And you're going to need him, even if he's your backup or guy you think you're helping get better. Listen, that's reps. That's quality time and pride. You got to have it. That's the attitude you got to have.
Every year we talk about Ryan Izzo, kind of the next step for him. What would you say is the next step for Ryan going into 2017?
Just getting better, blocking and catching and all the things, getting open and understanding. Just understanding the little. That's what you get when you get older. You start to understand nuances. You start to see things happen before they happen, and see triggers that allow. Okay, this is probably going to happen. And what it allows you to do is until you still, you know, you have to play, sometimes there's 3, 4, 5 things you worry about. But all of a sudden you get up there and recognize, okay, only 1 or 2 things can happen, or 1 thing can happen, or whatever. Now that allows you to process that situation better, play faster.
It is. Go for it.
I was gonna say the other day when Durham was asked, you know, did he know he was one of the best players in the whole country? He was like, he hasn't done anything. Is he always that kind of humble?
Competitor every day. Competitor every day.
That just
I mean, and that's what great players do. They never arrive. I mean, the stories here, they always said Dion was as good a hard practice player as there ever was. First one on, last one off. Stories about Michael Jordan. You hear me all talk about. There was nobody practiced harder in every game. I always tell the story. Jordan always said, you know, people ask me, how you change in the last 5 minutes of the game to play like you do? He said, I don't change, everybody else does. I just play like I do every day. Like every time he was in practice, you know, it was the NBA championship. Everything mattered to him, whether he's doing a shooting drill, was it a dribbling drill, was it a defensive drill, whether it was in a scrimmage, you know, they had that same intensity. You know, those guys like that are special, you know what I mean? And you got to understand that mentality.
We talk about his athleticism and everything, but how about his football IQ?
Who's that?
Derwin.
That's what I talk about all the time.
Just going 5 different position meetings and being able to
He
absorb
listened to me at ACC Media Day, didn't he?
It wasn't there.
He must have read it. That's what I said. The most impressive thing in him is his intelligence. Not just his instinct, his intelligence to comprehend everything that's going on and to play those positions and make very few mistakes. You know what I'm saying? That's what's hard. Not just to play a position and make a play or do something fabulous, but understand everything you have to do with that position. That takes a special cat now. I mean, it takes a real special guy. His ability to learn, he wants to learn, but his ability to learn and process information is the most phenomenal thing about it.
What's it like when you